Morning, glory, America. Bonjour, hi, Canada. It's May 5th in the year of the plague, 2020. 69,600 Americans have died from COVID or COVID related morbidities. That's up 877. 877 people died yesterday. As we head towards 100,000, I'm pretty sure that's where we're going to find ourselves by the summer's end, maybe a little bit higher. Well, the country has 1.21 million cases, and that includes 21,000 cases diagnosed yesterday. But the fatality number is not the big story. The big story is actually in the Telegraph of London this morning. And I encourage, by the way, doctors with experience treating COVID to call 1 800 520 1234. I'm getting feedback from the audience that you appreciate the anecdotes. No, anecdotes are not evidence of anything except anecdotes. I want everyone to understand it's not epidemiology, it's not science. It's what trained professional doctors can tell you, excuse me, about it's allergy season in DC, by the way, and that means when I go out and do my runs and my trundles, after the show I come back and sound like this, pollen in the throat. But they appreciate hearing from doctors, and you might be on your way to your shift. 1 800 520 1234. You might be coming home from an all night in the ICU. I would like to talk to you about what you're seeing and who you're seeing. The numbers tell us. Well, let me read to you, I think, the most interesting story of the day. It's from the Telegraph. Now, in Great Britain, the Times of London is their New York Times, and the Telegraph is their Washington Post, in my humble view. In terms of they're equal in their weight, they have different ways of approaching stories. This story is simply titled as a question: is weight a more significant factor than age in the next stage of lockdown? Should we be considering factors such as BMI, body mass index, when it comes to shielding a specific population? When 106-year-old Connie Titchen was clapped out of Birmingham City Hospital in mid-April, having survived her bout of coronavirus, she gave hope to silver seniors everywhere. From the start of the crisis, increasing age has been associated with lower rates of beating the disease. But here was Connie, who had outlasted the Spanish flu and had now seen off COVID 19, thanks, her family said, to her active and healthy lifestyle. Yet, according to the UK Department of Health, anyone over 70, let alone 100, is at a higher risk of being vulnerable to the effects. There have even been suggestions of putting older Britons among the last to escape lockdown. Some experts are querying whether the use of age as a matrix, the cutoff point at 70 in particular, is a good idea. Might we be better off, they ask, looking at other contributory factors such as, wait for it, weight, when it comes to shielding a specific population? After all, a 70-year-old who plays tennis twice a week, doesn't smoke or drink much alcohol, and whose body mass index is in the normal range, must surely be a better bet against COVID than a 40-year-old who smokes, binge drinks, never exercises, and is clinically obese, question mark. American researchers at Brown University is already underway that shows patients with a BMI over 35 are more likely to go into intensive care, and those with a BMI over 30, when combined with a history of heart disease, are more likely to need a ventilator as well. When you compare the numbers of those who die by COVID 19 by age and by risk of obesity, not yet. But according to the Office of National Statistics, about 60% of the deaths up till April 17th were men, not women. And yes, obesity matters a lot. Now, that's a lot because obesity is also related to diabetes. But those of us, it says, those of us without type 2 diabetes who aren't considered obese shouldn't relax. According to the World Obesity Federation, a high percentage of the world's population who will contract coronavirus will have a BMI over 25. So we could be looking at BMI rather than age as the ultimate risk factor, question mark? Not enough data yet, says Professor Calder, a professor of national immunology at the University of Southampton. Not enough. But look, it looks like that's where it's going. All right. So this leads me to number 2 story of the morning from the Wall Street Journal. As summer camps weigh reopening, parents scramble for options. And, you know, I just don't know that a lot of parents are going to be comfortable sending kids to summer camp. Some camps have already decided they're not going to reopen. Some camps are going to reopen and sprawl the kids out. At Liberty Lake Day Camp in Bordentown, the director, Andy Pritkin, says they increased the number of full-time nurses to 3. They're going to have much more spacing, 108 gallons of hand sanitizer. In addition to sunscreen and the pool towel, we may ask parents to pack a cloth mask. This got me to thinking. I really would like somebody to ask Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci a very practical question. What about swimming pools this summer? I mean, I am an old lifeguard, and I began at Waddell Pool in Niles when I was 17, and I didn't stop lifeguarding until I was 22. Did it during the school year at college. That's how I made money. Did it every summer. A lot better than lifting and working. The easiest job in the world. You pay for it 45 years later with visits to the dermatologist every 4 months and carving you up. But summer pools are for kids, and they are generally guarded by teenagers and young adults. And moms come with their little ones, and then some adults, older people come too. Is it unrealistic to say if you're over 40, you're not coming to the pool? But if you're 40 and you're fit, you can bring your kids. Now, I assume that it will spread around the coronavirus among that age population. But I also assume people break their arms and legs. I saw it. People have head injuries at pool. Pools are not, people drowned at pools. I can't tell you how many people I pulled out of a pool. But it's a place where people need in the summertime. So how about focusing on what people can do? And ought it not to be obvious to everyone that if you limit a pool to parents and children, parents under 40 and children. And by the way, if you're 45, I'm not mad at you, but maybe you let someone else take your kids. Maybe it's parents under 45 and kids. Whatever the science says, let's focus on doing things that we can do. That brings me, by the way, to my friends at Angel Tree Camps. They're not going to run the camps this summer. They can't. These are at-risk kids to begin with. They can't be taken into a dangerous place. They're the children of parents who are in prison. And every year at this time in May, I raise money for them. I mean, every year. And we've sent tens of thousands of kids to camp. But layoffs and school closures and health fears have impacted everyone. But kids with a mom or dad in prison have got to stay where they are, and it's really tough. But they're not forgotten. So the folks at Prison Fellowship through Angel Tree are sending each of these at-risk kids that they can manage an Angel Tree box of blessings. That includes $150 in grocery gift cards, a choice of sports equipment, soccer ball, hoops, basketball, age-appropriate Bible, like the Zondervan Pathlight Camper's Bible, some Bible study aid. If you go to HughHewitt.com and click on the Angel Tree banner, those grocery gift cards are especially critical so kids can get nutritious, healthy food. In parts of our country, food banks are overwhelmed. Here's a giant food bank spokesman from Philadelphia, from Philly Hunger, talking about their food bank.
We've seen a massive impact when it comes to volunteers. Actually, in the last 2 weeks alone, we've had over 250 volunteers drop out. We understand that people need to be safe and need to take care of themselves and their families. But with that loss in volunteers comes a loss of manpower for us. And so we're just really in need right now to make sure that the people that we serve get the food that they deserve during this rough time.
And I'd like to make sure that the children who have mom or dad in prison get one of these box of blessings. Fetching Mrs. Hewitt and I are going to do 5 kids. We're asking for $200 to provide the special box of blessings. At the top of HughHewitt.com, you'll find an Angel Tree banner. In America's darkest hour in a long time, let's remember these at-risk kids whom we normally send to camp, but we can't this summer. So we're going to send them a box of blessings with your help. $200, please, at HughHewitt.com. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, America.